It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 in the checkered flag. He wins his first NASCAR iRacing.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and we welcome you live to the first World Tour event of 2013, the Roar, before the 2.4 here at Daytona International Speedway. And with it, we welcome you to the GlacierTV pre-race show. Myself, Wilbinson, alongside Marius Gonnenbeck. And Marius, today we've got 3 cars racing. We've got the Ford Mustang, the VW Jetta, and the Mazda MX-5, and this is always one of the most fun races of the year.
Yeah, and this race starting the multi-class schedule for 2013, of course, being 1 week ahead of the iRacing 2.4 event with the Riley and the Mustang. And this is one of the most prestigious events, having over 700 people signed up. Of course, we're bringing you the broadcast of the top split here. 19 cars in the Mustang category, 6 in the Jetta category, and the rest is filled up with Mazda MX-5 Cup cars. 43 cars in total, and 43 drivers here qualified already, and we're going to bring you a little bit of a preview of the grid momentarily.
Indeed, yes, and of course, don't forget GlacierTV will be bringing you 6 of the 7 World Tour events of 2013, starting with this, the Roar for the 2.4, and then next week we'll be bringing you the 2.4 hours of Daytona. We'll be with you for the Daytona 500, the Pocono 400, and also the iRacing Grand Prix of Brazil. Our friends at GlacierTV will be bringing you the Indianapolis 500 in the month of May. And Marius, having a look at the grid, top names in front once again.
Yeah, we've just left off the Pro Series about 2 hours ago, and a couple of drivers from the WDC Series and the Pro Series, in fact, are here today. Taking a look first of all in the Mustang category, the fastest cars here on the track with 2-minute 04 times. We've got David L. Brown in pole position, the number 19 Mustang, with a time of 2:04.0 in front of Kimmo Suominen, the Finnish driver who usually drives GT cars, so a known guy to this car already. Dan Rash in 3rd position, Jim Shedlick in 4th. Starting with the 3rd row, Norbert Rebelski, Michael Abrams, so a couple of names you might already know from a couple of broadcasts we did before. Tim Klessens in 7, Jonathan Hall in 8, Pavel Biankowski in 9, and completing the top 10 for the Mustang class is Patrick Bierry.
And what we're going to do very quickly is we're going to talk to a couple of the drivers who are in the race today. They are, unfortunately, all finished, but we like to say a very big hello to Kimmo Suominen, Ricky Adatalo.
That's not very nice, huh?
And Yoni
I will remember
I'm
that.
offended.
I will remember that in the World Cup finals, dude.
But to get
I'm offended.
The Roar Before the 2.4 is always one of the most fun events of the year. You guys have already done one of these races, racing in your second one, and Yoni and Ricky especially had a ton of fun yesterday.
Truly. Rico had a small misfortune with Carl Williamson in the turn 1, but outside of that it was a ton of fun.
And Ricky, we knew of course on GlacierTV recently in the 16th Street Racing League. Now you're turning your attention to the tin top cars, and rumour has it you've actually been enjoying yourself.
Since I don't really need that much skill here, I mean, so it's so fun. I can hang out with the fast guys to the draft. So I'm having fun with. especially the slower ones. I'm not really a fan of the faster ones.
And
But
of
these
course,
are one time thing. I'm not gonna switch over, of course.
and we've also got Joni Hagner and Kimmo Surman here as well. Kimmo, I'll come to you first. We've seen you so often in GT style cars, racing here once again in the Raw before the 2.4. How do you rate your chances here today?
Well, I think I have some chance to win, but it's gonna be a tough race. There's some really tough competition in this race as well, as was in the last race, where I finished third. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough race, but I'll do my best.
And finally, we've also got Joni Hagner in the booth. And Joni, well, you love these races, you love racing all the time, but you're doing yourself a lot of racing here today with, of course, the iRacing World Cup coming to you in just a couple of hours' time. This is just kind of a bit of a warm-up for you?
Yeah, I to keep fun with this event and keep safe. A long time and just push people in my front and attack the last lap if possible.
And we wish you all the best of luck. Don't forget, you can keep in contact with us all race long. We've got a couple of hashtags. The first one, which we want to tell you, iRacing World Tour, hashtag iRacing World Tour. Keep in contact with us, and our commentary team will be keeping an eye throughout the race on that. And Marius, we're going to now head ourselves over to the VW grid, and once again, very close field.
Yeah, not just in the Mustangs, the cars are separated by just a couple of thousands really, but here Alexandru Raileanu, one of the most experienced drivers in this cars, have taken the pole position, 2 minute 08, so around 4.5 seconds slower than the fastest cars, the Ford Mustang here. 0.4 it is for him, 0.4 it is as well for second place Attila Sipos. In third position Kevin Parrish at 0.5, in fourth Samuel De La Fuente 0.5, and Daniel Lopez, a driver we know from the Drivers' World Championship, only in fifth position with a 0.7, so you see that's a little cutoff already. Simon Trendell in 6th and Evgeny Dontsov completing the 7-car only grid, so this is the smallest field of these 3 cars tonight, but we will however have the cars sort of separating the Mazda and the Mustang exactly in the middle, because the MX-5 is once again about 2.5 to 3 seconds slower.
And with the VW Jetta as well, it's a very difficult car to master, and in some ways that's kind of affected the level of participation here today, but still a very fun car to drive. I know you've driven it in the past, and when all things are considered, we're going to have some really close racing around there.
Yeah, definitely, and this has been a lot of fun. I've been doing it last year, in fact, and I can remember the decision for the win has only been made a couple of meters ahead of the finish line, and it's just been amazing fun, really. And I know, again, I mean, these cars are running top speeds from 100 to 230 kilometers an hour, and it just doesn't matter if you're first until minute in 59 or even minute 60. Once you cross the line, you only get the victory, and if you've got a couple of cars behind you in the draft, you might come out third, even though you're leading into the last oval banking, because that's exactly what happened to me last year.
And then we move on to Mazda MX-5s. This is the car that most of the drivers cut their teeth on iRacing. For those of you who are new to racing, haven't seen the broadcast before, haven't driven on iRacing before, most drivers start their career in the Mazda MX-5. And Marius, it shows with the quality of field that we have here today.
Absolutely, and taking a look further down, the MX-5 field led by Joni Beckman. You might know him from GlacierTV, of course, the head of GlacierTV, on the pole position together with Rico Alatalo, My 380 Gaming, only separated at 10th here. Then in third position, Carl Williamson, also an expert in the MX-5, as well as Joni Hagner there in the second row. Danny Conlon in 5th, Nicola Cedrati in 6th, and Tony Rupuzan with number 1 on his car, only in 7th position. They're completing the row with Conrad Hutten. And a couple of names, well, if you remember, Conrad Hutten, for example, he's been driving the Proto Ice, and of course Joni Hagner, Rico Alatalo, all drivers from the Pro Series and Drivers' World Championship here. So taking a look further down the field there, the time split up a little bit, because there's been some controversy about drafting or getting help from faster cars in the qualifying. However, that does not apply to the 60-minute race. You are pretty much on your own here, so even though the qualifying times are separated by about 3.5 seconds there from fastest to slowest, this is going to be a whole different thing in the race, and it will be a question if Beckman and Alatolo might even apply some little teamwork there, and behind them Williamson and of course Joni Hagner, who we've just heard. Might not make it too easy for them, but we've got a 43 car grid here, and it's going to be a fantastic race.
Indeed, yes, and we talk about the way these cars have been working together on the racetrack, and there was a little bit of controversy with the Jettas and the Mazda MX-5s getting a bit of a push by the Mustangs. Nothing really against it, but a couple of drivers were rather upset with it, and that explains the reason why there's a little bit more separation in those two classes compared to the Ford Mustang. Of course, the Mustangs can still bump draft each other around the racetrack in. It's going to be a very interesting race, Mary. It's always a great way to kick off the World Tour. We did it last year, World before the 2.4, and this year we're doing it again. And a number of these drivers as well racing here today to get themselves, more in tune with the track before they get themselves into the McLaren MP412C GT3 car and the Riley Daytona prototype next week.
And for you, additional information, of course, we've got the live stream up as well. It might be a little bit difficult throughout the race to keep track of where your favorite drivers are. Maybe you're looking for your teammates, and with 43 cars and 3 different classes, it's going to be very difficult to follow. So just take a look at our regular live stream site, isowc.org/live. The regular GlacierTV live streaming is up right now and showing you all the 43 cars separated in colors. You get lots of information there. Last lap, gap ahead, fastest lap, as well as incidents and pit stops. So just drop by that, and we can't indeed talk about everything. So the things we miss, you might still get in the lifetime. Indeed,
yes, and thank you friends at the ISOWC for providing that service to us. We're going to go racing in about 4 minutes time. So at this point, we'd like to hand over to our GlacierTV All-Star commentary team, Justin Petrai, Liam Jenkins, Dan Blake, and Marius Golomek. I've been Will Vincent. I'm going to go racing for 60 minutes, and I'll talk to you after the race. Handing over to you first, Liam.
Yes, so good afternoon, everybody. A real pleasure to be here on this first World Tour event of 2013. It's the Royal Before the 2.4 and a fantastic pre-show by Mr. Will Vincent, of course, a resident GlacierTV commentator, and of course I'm joined alongside me today in the GlacierTV booth by Dan Blake. So Dan, obviously a big preparation race for the 2.4 hours of Daytona. How do you think the drivers are going to approach this one?
I think they're going to approach this one very well. As you said, it's a good race for the Daytona 2.4, and also the Mazda being one of the rookie cars in iRacing service has been quite good participation for this World Tour event, so hopefully it will see a bit of boost of numbers.
Well, we hope so. So into the final minute then of the warm-up session, where the drivers just have a final chance to get used to the circuit, and maybe some issues they'll encounter. Obviously it's a much bigger field than they would have experienced earlier on. A total of 42 drivers have qualified and each set warm-up times, so there's definitely no hanging around, especially even in the warm-up session. So obviously you've got 3 different classes we've already been through today. You've got the Mustangs, the Jetta TDIs, and the Mazda NX-5s. And all of them have their own individual drivers, the stars of each class, and it's definitely going to be an interesting race to say the least. But how do you think strategy is going to pan out here? Do you think there's going to be maybe a lot of pit stops? Do you reckon the driver's going to wait to about the midpoint maybe, or maybe even not stop at all?
I don't think there'll be any pits in this race. From the forums beforehand, people seem quite sure they'd be able to do this on a 1 tank of fuel. But also, I think the team partnerships will be quite important. As we see in the Mazda class, you have Joni Batman and Riku Alatalo, both Team Finland, both Team 8, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any team tactics.
It will indeed. So session strikes to 0, meaning we've only got a few more seconds before the drivers line up on the grid for the first World Tour event of 2013, and it couldn't get more tense than it. Just look how close the times are at the front of the field as well. From first place all the way down to around, I'd say, 5th place are separated by just over 0.2 of a second, so extremely close. With a circuit like Daytona as well, where it offers so much drafting opportunities, we're going to be on for a very exciting race.
Of course, informing you about starting procedure here at Daytona, of course, starting in the banked oval section around the start-finish line here. This is going to be a rolling start. The pace car will lead the cars all the way around the track. They're coming out of the last chicane, and we're going to give you another display of the grid, and I'm going to hand over to Dan Blake to give you a little bit of an overview who's leading the cars here into the first turn.
Thank you very much, Marius. So here we have Mustangs on pole. We have David L. Brown. Alongside him is Kumo Sumnen. In the second row is Dan Rash and Jim Shedlick. Row 3 is Norbert Rubelski and Michael Abrams. On the 4th row we have Tim Kleisens and Jonathan Hall. Row 5 consists of Paweł Blankowski and Patrick Bieri. Row 6 is Jason Fryer and Amano Palumbo. Row 7 sees Jonathan Fuller and Jordan Westfall. Then it's Maxim Rustine 15th, Kevin Brown 16th, Eric Palacio is 17th, 18th is Ahmed Yaman, 19th is Antoine Heglin, and to bring it the rest of the field is going to be Liam Jenkins. Okay, I think Liam's not here, so 20th place is Alexandro Vahanyo, he's the first of the TDI drivers. 21st, Attila Sipos. In 22nd we have Kevin Parrish. 23rd is Samuel De La Fuente. 24th, Daniel Lopez. 25th is Simon Trendau, and rounding after Jetterfield is Eugenie Donstov in 26th. This brings us on now to the Mazda MX-5. There's quite a lot of experience here, especially on the front row. We have Yoni Bachmann and Riku Alatalo. The second row of the Mazda sees Carl Williamson and Joni Hagner. 31st overall is Danny Conlon, with alongside him Nicola Sejrati. 33rd place Tony Rossard. 34th is Conrad Hutton. In 35th is Dexter Castro, alongside him is James Stevenson in 36th. 37th is Stefan Overgaard, 38th Arthur Chan, 39th is Antti Tuomo with 40th Danilo Jacobs, 41st is Patrick Lindsay, 47th is Jere Yanis, and bringing out the 43 car field is Sam McAleer.
Indeed, and apologies for filling in the rest of the grid there. My mic apparently had an error, so I didn't want to risk it doing some weird squealing noise over the broadcast. But as we approach almost the end now of the lap, the drivers coming on to that chicane. It's such a beautiful chicane as well, probably one of my favourites overall. And it's just really nice to see the different car classes now all line up. And it's a very close grid, as we said, not just in the top splits of the Mustangs, but even all the way down to the Mazdas. As you said, that very experienced front row. Rico Alatalo coming into the Drivers' World Championship this year, making a very good impact there, and he's only a few hundredths of a second away from Yoni Bachmann, so a very close grid here, and any one of these drivers could really snatch a victory in their class today. So this will be the slowest time that the drivers actually go around this circuit they'll be hoping for anyway. So you can see it's such a beautiful shot as the field will stream down towards that chicane. And going to be quite nimble here as well, going to be careful not to do anything stupid on the warm-up lap, especially in a 1 hour race. And that's another key thing then, isn't it, is that this race is so long, it's a 1 hour race, and the last thing you want to do is make a very silly error in the opening couple of laps. You have to be conservative. Yeah, very, very patient, because the race will not be won in turn 1, and this is especially the case with this being a 60-minute race. It's also usually the case in a normal race where it's a bit shorter, but especially in these long distance races, you don't want to put rash moves in, find yourself having a pit for damage, or even worse, being retired from the race and you've got 60 minutes to get your moves done.
Yeah, that is very true there, Dan. And of course, the trouble spots in this track for today's race here, the Roar Before the 2.4, the trouble spots that I was watching yesterday in yesterday's race was turn 1, the first horseshoe, and the entrance to the bus stop chicane. But also, that's where the passing zones are, to where you can gain an advantage on someone who makes a mistake.
Yeah, it's a very good point. It's a very low braking point as well. You come into the corner so quickly and try and get as much speed on the exit as possible. Just a slight nick of the grass off the exit of the curb and you can find yourself losing valuable tenths of seconds. And right now that'll be the thing on these drivers' mind. The pace car is in, and the first event of 2030 iRacing World Tour is about to get underway. The question is who's going to win? They cross the line now. We just wait for that green flag signal, and we're away towards turn 1 then. The Mustangs lead the field from the Jetters. You can see the Masters quite a way back already. So through turn 1 they come. All looking very clean so far, trying to establish himself into a nice order where there's no contact. We just await the arrival of the Masters and the Jetters, all just trying to nimble their way through. The Masters entering turn 1 complex now. So again, very clean for here so far. That's exactly what they need as well. Just try and get yourself in a bit of clean air for the opening laps.
Yeah, definitely. David made a great start, and the Mustang is at the front. He pulled out about 2-3 tenths when they got to the first corner. And as they now go through the International Horseshoe into 4 and 5, it is David Brown who has the lead. It is indeed. So will he be able to retain that lead for the rest of the race? He's got a long race into him. You can see there's some action there with Jonathan Fuller and Palacio. Trying to go round the outside. He may actually lose some time there too. The number 28 car of Kevin Brown. That's for P15 in the Mustang class. Jetters
incredibly aren't too far away at all. They're actually giving the Mustangs a little bit of a run for their money. You can see the Mazdas just at the very back of your screen. Enrico Alatalo still leads that class. Carl Williamson there, you can see, is in P3. I beg your pardon, no, Yoni Blackman is still in that class. So Yoni in the lead. You can see the rest of the Mazdas flick through as well. But it seems to be a very clean start, very low attrition rate, which is what we like to see. A lot of the cars still looking very strong, trying to get a bit of an advantage through this oval section. One of them being Daniel Lopez, who's gone side by side with Rolano. They're going side by side going in towards the chicane, and it looks at the moment like it's going to be Daniel Lopez who's capitalised. He's going to have that line on the chicane as the Mustangs enter their way. There's going to be a bit of side by side action on the ovals there, so Daniel Lopez securing the move before he even reached the bus stop chicane, so very calm there. And obviously you wouldn't defend too hard either, because defending is where often most of the mistakes can come from, so maybe a very sensible move there.
Yeah, very sensible move indeed, as they just now come to start the end of the first lap, and Kimo Sunen has got a good draft here on David Brown, but who's going to be leading the first lap? And Sunen pokes out to the left-hand side. I think it is indeed going to be Kimo Sunen who leads the first lap of the race. As they come across the line now, it's very, very close. In fact, they are a dead heat for the lead, but it's David L. Brown, but that's going to be soon taken by Kimo Sunen down the inside of turn one. That's a good move from Kimo, and he's going to take the lead, but as Dan Rash is also maybe going to try and take a position, but he can't quite make it. But in the Mustangs, the lead has been taken by Kimo Sunen.
Oh, and just look at this, you've got 3 in the Masters already, and I believe there was actually Danilo Jacobs was almost off the circuit below the yellow line. They're almost 3 wide there. The guys being currently involved in that are Jacobs. I think Arthur Chan's there as well. He's gone a little bit wide. They're all trying to flow it into some sort of order. Again, very nicely played there. They didn't push each other towards track limits, and inevitably it was Daniel Jacobs who managed to come out on top of that one, despite being pushed off the circuit a bit earlier on. But you can see already there, that was racing etiquette. They didn't need to be doing that hard. So they all sort themselves out very carefully and navigate their way in towards turn 2. So despite going 3 wide, they still organise themselves very calmly.
And there's a great battle in the Maz second place. Ricky Alatalo under real pressure here from the number 8 of Carl Williamson, and also Yoni Hagner's there in close attendance. Down the inside goes Williamson to take second place, and Alatalo is quite close there between the two of them there. But Williamson it is who takes the position.
Another great move there. Only the action getting hotter and hotter as the race has only got underway.
Yoni Hagner's off the track. He's lost control there, just about getting them back together, but Yoni Hagner's going to lose a lot of positions there.
Oh, and he gets hit! 3, 4 cars involved. Oh my!
Gee, that's a massive wreck.
That is a massive crash in the Masters, and hopefully they all can avoid him as Hagner goes down the track. He's right in the middle. He's going to get going again, but I think that is Yoni Hagner's race done.
Very unfortunate as well, but luckily the majority of Mazdas were able to miss, like Yoni Backman as well, and Carl Williamson going side by side now. Williamson trying to go around the outside here. I wonder if this is going to have enough momentum for him to make it stick into the chicane. He's going to have to back off. So yes, he does. Backman is going to be very careful about this. I mean, Carl Williamson's looking very hot here since the start of the race. He's looking very strong now still. Alatalo is alongside them though, just waiting maybe for an hour to capitalise. The front 3 still line astern as they come around the oval.
Yeah, and the front 3 in the Mustang field were doing a bit of bump drafting there. The third place car, Dan Rash, was trying to push David Brown towards Suman and didn't quite make it. But in the Mustangs, the top 4 are starting to maybe put out the slightest of gaps between the rest of the field. And there's maybe a move here going into the International Horseshoe, but there is not going to be one in the end. But the top 4 in the Mustangs are quite close. But I think all the action, as you said before, is in the Mazdas at the moment.
It is indeed, and it's exceptionally great racing as well by all parties so far. You can see the Jetta's also very tight so far. I haven't seen too much action. The only move that I've witnessed is the Daniel Lopez move. He sits in P23 trying to hunt down Rolano, who's gone past him again. And you've got Seapos there just in front of those guys at P21. But the man at the front of the field is not too far away actually. Kevin Parrish is leading that TDI class at the moment, but not by too much. The Jetta's reasonably close together at this stage.
Yeah, they are, and the battle in the Masters between Carl Williamson and Ricky Alatalo is still going on. Alatalo tried to make a move on Williamson, and I think maybe Alatalo might try and make a move down into turn 4 and 5 here. He's going to try, but I don't think he's going to quite be able to make it. Williamson defends the line well, but Ricky Alatalo, as they come onto the oval section in the minute, might trying to make a move. He's on the outside now of Carl Williamson. Williamson will take the line though, but Alatalo will have a good draft going onto the oval section, and because of the accident with Yoni Hagner, these 3 are quite a way clear now, the rest of that field in the Mazdas.
Oh, and Alatalo went a little bit there as well, and he may actually have that come back. He's on the inside now of Williamson, and look at that, he's got a nice draft there off Yoni in the lead at the moment, so I wonder if that's going to pull him away from the man who currently holds that P2 in the Master class. So he may even get a run on back at this rate. He's looking very strong right now. Yoni immediately heads to the inside. Question is, where is Riku going to go? He's trying to get an inside move. He's picking up a nice slipstream to secure that second position, but then make sure he holds, does not go for the move. But a very sensible choice there by Tallow to sneakily use that slipstream.
Indeed, I think the best thing that Tallow and Batman can do is try and work together and get away from Carl Williamson, but I think that's going to be easier said than done, because any drafting Williamson will be able to take advantage of, but it's clearly at the moment just these three, with the rest of them 8 seconds behind in the Master field.
Indeed, so the race on, and it's still going to be the man in the lead at the most is Yoni Backman in the Master class at the moment, and it's still in very close as well. You can see Riku Alatalo trying. So if you get a move, you can see it's almost bump drafting there, but Williamson just will not budge, will he? He will not let guys alone, and despite all their hardest efforts to work together, I don't think they're going to pull away from Williamson at such a high rate.
No, I don't think they are. In fact, he's got a bit wide going into the first corner. He's going to hold it on, but he's got extra momentum there to try and get to Riku Alatalo, and in fact, he's got some real momentum here as the car number 8 of Carl Williamson, and down when he try and make a move on Alatalo. He's gone to the outside, but he's not going to try and make the move there. But it'd be interesting to see what happens further on in the lap between these three.
It will, and just taking a look back through the rest of the field, it's probably the closest battle on circuit at the moment. These three still line of stern now, and you can see the Jetters are getting very tense just up in front. You can see a big battle here. You can see that is, I believe, Daniel Lopez again now attacking Kevin Parrish. So you've got a three-way battle here because the Jetters are so close. Look at them, there's a group of 5 there, headed by Parrish. Then you see Daniel Lopez, Samuel De La Fonte, and Simon Trendle as well. All of these guys in very close proximity as they heading towards that bus stop chicane.
And Kevin Parrish has lost 2 positions from the start of the lap. He did start it in lead of the Jetters. He's now down to 3rd place. Attilo Sipos and Alexandru Ulianu have found their way past Parrish. So this has not been a very good lap so far for Kevin Parrish.
And it may just get even worse because there's a very feisty Daniel Lopez behind him. They go into the chicane now. There's no move. Are given a bit of a slide though, however, from Samuel De La Fonte. Just managed to avoid it, but he did get a massive momentum change onto the back of Daniel Lopez, and already effectively bum drafting him on the exit. I wonder if he's going to try and move into turn 1. He got such a momentum boost coming out of that chicane. I think this time could be the one where he tries that move on Daniel Lopez. Only time will tell though, as they come round turn 3 into turn 4, and he's just trying to get as much momentum. I wonder if he's doing what Rico Alatalo did, because they're flying now up in towards Kevin Parrish, so they could very well be working together in order to catch the next 2 cars.
This is some intense sim, and one mistake from either of those 2 cars, and they could have both of their races, but they managed to orchestrate it very, very well and stay position. And as you said, Liam, they've caught right up to the cars in front with Kevin Parrish, so that has done wonders for them.
It has indeed. You see another example of this in the Masters at the moment with James Stevenson and Arfan also having almost the same effect of the Alatalo battle. You've got Danilo Jacobs trying to get in there, effectively playing the Williamson part, but he's trying to go round the outside there. He's getting that side draft. And you can see just in front Arthur Chan's looking to maybe try and move around the outside, but knowing that Jacobs is going to be there, that's not going to pay off. And luckily they all orchestrate perfectly into turn 1. It's a very aggressive number 5 car, Dratti, and he may go up the inside. And that was very almost a bit of contact there.
It's very, very it's racing in this pack. There was a car further back which went very wide into turn 1. I don't know if he quite kept it, but there's a move by number 39 down the inside there. That is the car of Sam McAleer. Sam McAleer, well-known Mazda driver from the Blondies Mazda World Tour, and he's trying to make a position now on the number 21 of Danilo Jacobs. As they come now through, that's those Mazdas coming now through into turn number 5. And Jay, what do you think of the racing at the moment?
Oh, this is some of the best racing that you can see anywhere, especially on iRacing. This is the event to kick off the 2013 World Tour event, with battles all around in the Mustangs, the Jettas, and the Mazda MX-5s. With, of course, like what you and Liam were saying, right now the battle to watch is in the Mazdas, with battles all around from basically all over the track. You never get a dull moment with the Roar Before the 2.4. This is anything you could want, and you get your money's worth.
You do indeed. Just as you said, also, sorry to interrupt, you've got some action in the Mustangs, and I believe that's actually Robleski's got a little bit of damage on his Mustang, both front and rear, so he doesn't seem to have any lack of speed. But there's a massive of cars now all trying to have their chance. You can see just behind them, I believe that's Ramstein and Palacio both trying to navigate their way around. You can see just behind them Jonathan Fuller and Kevin Brown also trying to fancy their chances. That Mustang clan of cars has closed right up, and I'm assuming because that's of the damage which has been suffered by Rebelski.
Yeah, Jonathan Hall's lost positions as well in that, so be interesting to see what's happened in this battle. But as I was saying, there's quite there going down towards the turn. There's a car on the outside. That's 31 under pressure from the 33 car. The 33 car is Tim Claisens, and Tim Claisens has got damage to the front of his car as well. So the Mustang has got a bit of damage. He's going to try and let down the inside of Paul Blinkowski. But with the damage to these cars, how will this affect them, do you reckon? Especially with it being aerodynamic track.
It could be a key factor. You said before, this is a circuit dependent on drafting. If you want to be successful, it's all about cooperating with the cars around you, and more importantly, getting a nice draft. And if that weakens any opportunity that you have, then you're going to suffer here more than any other track on the calendar, perhaps.
And the move's been made by the 33 tries to, that's Tim Claisens trying to get past the 31 of Paul Blinkowski. Right behind them as well is the number 34 of Patrick Bieri, and I think those three are now just starting to try and pull away from the rest of the chasing pack, including Michael Abrams and Jason Fryer.
Oh, it's been in contact! Sorry to interrupt you. I mean, we were saying about how professionally that Samuel De La Fuente and Daniel Lopez were slipstreaming earlier on. They've just made the slightest bit of contact, and the aftermath was very near catastrophic. Both of them managed to save the cars. I don't think there's any visible damage, but it was a very scary moment nonetheless, and just an example of how risky this really is.
Yeah, the drafting is very risky, but at the front of the field, it's a good battle here between Kimo Suminen and Dan Rash. They seem to have pulled away a bit from the rest of the chasing field, because we've got about a 1.5 second gap back to Jim Shedlick in third. But with the drafting, if you can get into that draft, we might be able to catch up to them quite quickly. But it's Suminen and Rash at the moment for first and second place in the Mustangs. To see what's going on in the Jettas.
And yes, so still close race round, and again quickly back to the Mustangs. We've got action all over the place now after literally being the calm before the storm. They've erupted into life here. There are battles all over the circuit. One of them still being that Ramstein battle trying to take Rebelski, and he cannot quite get there at the moment. Rebelski's damaged Mustang is still hanging on in there. It will not give up without a fight, but in doing that, it's produced a massive flock of cars like a pack of hungry wolves just circulating behind it. And the whole Mustang pack is so close together. Number 37's just gone very wide indeed, and I believe that was, pretty find it on my camera, he's actually going to sort of lose a lot of positions. That was trying to actually find out Michael Abrams.
Also, the battle for the Jet really hotting up. We've got 6 of them within about 2 seconds of each other. It's Seapass and Parrish, and we've got side by side behind between Daniel Lopez and Alexandru Ulianu as they come down into the corner. Ulianu on the inside is going to defend that position from Daniel Lopez, but the as you said before, we got some great racing in all the classes, but now the fight team is allowing the two at front, Seapass and Parrish, to pull away from the 4 behind them. But it's absolutely fantastic stuff by the Jettas as we come up now onto the banked oval towards the bus stop.
Yeah, and already you can see how incredible this racing has been. The best part is only 20 minutes in. Take a look again at the Jettas. Samuel De La Fuente now pushing well now, as you can see. Daniel Lopez just behind, trying to get something. He's almost being left out here in the course. Just behind them, you can see what that white car almost in the background there, feeling a bit left out of Simon Trendle, but nonetheless he's keeping up with them very nicely and maybe just waiting for the opportunity to come to him. And sometimes that's all you can really do, isn't it? Just sit and wait. But back at the front here, you can see this is Yamin having a bit of a fight here for P7. He's gone very well. He's missed Telmar completely. Got it back on track, but he's lost the position to Hegel, and he's managed to just about circulate back on. But the Mustang's still looking more fiery than ever here. You can see just in front, that's Westfall there, trying to navigate his way around. He's swooping back across now. He's going to just about hold on to that nice position against Claessens, who's trying to go right alongside. They're going to get side by side here, and again that cheeky slipstream they used by Claessens has been to keep hold of that position for a little bit more.
Yeah, Bieri and Jonathan Hall be hoping this carries on, but there's a move down the inside there behind them, and the move is the Paul B. Kanowski making a move on Tim Claisens. Now there's also another car behind them which will be hoping to be able to make a position up as well. But this is fierce action in the Mustangs. It's the number 40 of Jordan Westfall. There's literally about 7, 8, 9 Mustangs all in one great gaggle. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and as Jay said, you do not get this kind of action anywhere else. And if this is what we're expecting here in the Raw before, then what kind of action can we expect in the actual 2.4 hours of Daytona? It's going to be a spectacle to be Weldon if you can catch that live. But right now, we are taking our main focus onto the Mustangs, who are still, of course, in very close competition. The Jet is also close right up now. Stepos is the man currently, I believe, leading that car. As you can see him just trying to hold off the man of Kevin Parrish at the moment, who's back up to his previous position, but he really needs to try and reclaim that lead in that car. So just leading the car a couple of laps ago, he's got back up to second, and now trying to chase down that number 26 of Attila Stepos, but it's so hard to do in these Jetters.
Yeah, it's very hard indeed, and all speaking of things being hard, the Mustangs are just about starting to lap traffic. I think they just passed Yoni Hagner on that last lap or so, and also the next one on their hit list is Dexter Castro, but they're going to start coming up to these Masters very quickly, and when they start to get lapping cars, they'll be doing that probably near enough every lap, so it's probably the most clear air they're going to have in the whole race, because soon they're going to be having Mazdas and Jetters to try and lap.
Indeed it will, so you really cannot predict what's going to happen here. We're only hoping that the fireworks do stay at a minimum and there aren't too many incidents, but back in the Master battle, we've strayed away from this a little now, I think. The Yoni Backman Rico Alatalo battle is still very fierce, but that theory has worked. They're broken away from Carl Williamson. The gap between those guys now is around a second and a bit, so it's not too much, but it's enough to distinguish a battle now. They were very close together a few laps to go, so teamwork can pay off here, it seems.
But Williamson's caught, sorry to interrupt you, Jay, Williamson caught them right up there in the bus stop. Alatalo had to brake a little bit quicker, so he lost the time, and now back to Jay.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the battles to watch here. Riku Alatalo is basically, he's using, in the NASCAR terms, he's bump drafting him to try and pull away from Carl Williamson. And it's certainly paying off, but when it gets to the turns, that's where they have to break up their little two-car tandem to the point that Carl Williamson gains that advantage back.
Becoming a three-car tandem now, because Williamson's right on the tail of Ricky Alatalo as they come down into turn one. Alatalo brakes before Backman, and also Williamson again likes to use the outside line on that first corner to try and get momentum on the exit, and indeed it's worked again. He finds himself right on the back of Ricky Alatalo's bumper. Alatalo sure to be feeling the pressure. It might be a nice cold fin, but I think Williamson's going to try and melt that for him. He's going to go round the outside. He's going to try to anyway, but it's not going to work for him. And as they come down now towards the turn 4 and 5 sections, they're back together as a 3.
And just notice as well, a little sneaky fact here, that the Mustangs are on their way. They've just previously lapped Yoni Hanger, who of course was caught up in that incident a few laps ago. He's currently there with a little Mustang swarm, and that Mazda looks so tiny compared to those Mustang beast cells navigating their way through the oval. But a big fact, I mean, Jay, you'll agree with this, that these two-car tandems can either make you or break you. They will work continuously so strongly and pull you away from the other car, but that engine is going to get incredibly hot. If you don't monitor it and swap yourselves around and work as a team, then it can actually do yourself more harm than good.
Yeah, and that's definitely the one thing to watch about these Mazdas here, especially at a track as big as a track like Daytona. If you stay into the two-car tandem draft like you would see in NASCAR for a long periods of time, that engine starts to get hot to the point of where you have to back off. That way you don't lose the engine.
Indeed you do, and I wonder how much of a factor that's going to play as this race comes to an end. We're almost at the halfway point now, and your race leaders in each class currently is Sumanen in the current Mustang class. In the Jetta TDI class, it's still Stepos being closely hounded though by Kevin Parrish. And in the Mazda X5s, it's still Yoni Backman from Rico Alatalo and Carl Williamson. So still very familiar faces at the front of the field, but the racing is still proving to be a very vital factor. There is still some side-by-sides in the Jettas here. That is between Sano de la Fuente, who's got in front of Rallenau, but for how long is another question, because he holds that inside line out to try and re-pass de la Fuente, and he's just going to sweep it. It's so tricky to go side-by-side through there. He'll be left on the outside now, and surely he's going to make it hung out to dry, and I wonder if Daniel Lopez is going to sneak through. No, he doesn't, but lucky enough in that almost went from bad to worse, so only loses the one position. A great move there, but these Jettas separated by virtually nothing, meaning that overtaking is so difficult.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult indeed. And I thought there for a second Daniel Lopez might try and take advantage of Alexander Rayanu's going wide, but he didn't in the end. But this has allowed Simon Trendle to come back onto the back of him, and the only car in the Jetta class who's doing a bit of a lonely race is the number 14, Avijan Dontsov, who's about 8 seconds behind this massive trio of Jettas. Well, not trio, massive swarm of them. But Kevin Parrish is now right on the back of Sipos, our Jetta leader, as they come down towards the bus stop. Is he going to try and make a move, I wonder, as they come now to the braking point? I think he's going to hold back. He's almost bump drafting, I think, there. It's been quite a talking point, bump drafting, but I think we've seen it there from the Jetta leaders, and they're actually starting to pull away a bit now from the rest of the field.
From Must leaders to Jetta leaders and vice versa, we've got still Biankowski is still fighting him. He's now fighting, trying to catch Jonathan Hull, but more importantly, hold off Claessens. And Claessen's giving him a real run for his money right now, and he's almost side by side. He couldn't hold on though, and Biankowski does provisionally take the position. But how much of a factor, when you speak about bump drafting, how much of a factor for these Mustangs is traffic going to be?
Well, coming back to Reiki, I think traffic, once you can get through the traffic quickly, and out of that swarm of Mustangs, in fact, we've got down to 4. They seem to have broken away. Bieri, Hall, Biankowski and Claessens seem to have pulled away from the rest of them. So what was before a swarm of cars is now turning into 2 packs.
As indeed, and I wonder if the massive influence, you can see them now trying to push their way past the Mazdas, who, as I said before, look so tiny compared to these big, feisty Mustangs. You can see, and it's just really helpful as well, because you can get, as a Mustang, if you're trying to chase a pack of cars down, and the Mazdas have to get off their racing line for them. If you're a single Mustang trying to catch him, you can get a very nice draft. It won't give you much, maybe only a few miles an hour, but it can prove to be vital in the following corners. You can see, talking of Jonathan Hall now, who's actually coming under pressure from Patrick Bieri. And Bieri's going to go around on the inside there, and I wonder if he's going to be able to make that stick into the chicane. There's only one way to find out. He's just in front of the Biankowski battle. He'll be on the outside line, but very well defended there. And he did not fight too hard for that at all. Jonathan Hall played a very conservative race so far, but that may harm him, unfortunately, because Tim Claessen fancies his chances to the inside, being pushed effectively by Biankowski. So in 3 positions in the space of 1 corner, it seems, and Jonathan Hall sensibly drops to the back. There's not much he could do there, but he played it very well. He did not fight very hard for that, and that could have ended catastrophically if he did.
Yeah, as we see, we're not even halfway through the race really. The leaders have done 23 minutes of the race. It's not time to be rash. He's still got quite a lot of time to take him up, and I think these 4 are racing together, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when the race goes on, but definitely not a time for rash moves at the moment.
No,
down the inside of a rash move, down the inside goes Biankowski on Claessens into turn number 2, and in fact also there's a slower, the car in front of him as Bieri was a bit slower as well. So, but now they are definitely coming up to the Mustang pack. The Mustang pack coming up to the Mazdas now. So it'll be very interesting to see how this affects things.
Oh, and it could not get tasty, could it? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Mustangs all in very close proximity battling. You've got 3 Mazdas all in close proximity. But the question is, who is going to count on top of these Mazdas? Have to realise what's at stake here for both parties. And plays very sensibly, as you said. We've only had 23 minutes of racing here at Daytona so far. We've barely scraped the surface, which means we've still got a long way to go. And we've still got some side-by-side action there as the Mustangs try and look at that screech on the poor Mazda left on the right-hand side of the circuit, having to move out of the way for these Mustangs. Very well played there by Stefan Overgaard, who currently holds the P38, getting off his racing line, which as he legally should do, but very respectfully waits until a point. He doesn't do anything stupid and dive offline drastically without informing anyone. He waits till it's a sensible point and lets all the Mustangs through. Very sensible living and a prime example of how lapping should be done.
Yeah, at the front, Jim Shedlick is caught right up to Kimo Supernum and Dan Rash. He's about 2 seconds behind last time I checked in on these 3. But Jim Shedlick has really closed up to them now. So we've got a 3-way battle for the lead in the Mustangs. And as you were saying before, the way they go through these Mazdas is very, very crucial to the race. And before we said there was a 4-car train, but now when they were fighting going through turn 1 and 2, it's allowed the pack to catch them up again. So we've got that big gaggle of Mustangs again from about 5th place backwards.
I just heard a bit of contact in my left ear, and I'm not too sure where that's occurred. So we'll try and pick that up as soon as we can find out where. But this time you can see the Jetta's also separated out a bit now. Daniel Lopez being pushed now by Simon Trendle. So I wonder what's happened there. So Lopez and Trendle currently 22nd and 23rd, and they are currently 4th and 5th in their class. So Kevin Parrish still leads that. Simon De La Fuente has really pushed up the field, hasn't he? He's currently up to 2nd in his class. So that Jetta clan is really starting to shape up quite nicely now.
Yeah, the car who lost Jetta train is number 10, Alexandru Oleanu. He was right up with them, and now he's fallen back to second to last in class. He only covered
big wreck in horseshoe. Patrick Bieri involved with a couple of the MX-5s, and chaos ensued a bit, but it looks like Bieri came out with just minor damage. A little bit of action there going into the International Horseshoe.
Yeah, luckily the rest of the field made that through okay. That was a very scary moment. The second one where it could have been a big one. And luckily the effects weren't too dramatic. But again, it has enabled people like Arthur Chance to have a clan of Mustangs all trying to fight their way through now. And luckily, it hasn't gone too badly for them at the moment. But this traffic situation is seemingly getting worse for the Mustangs. And normally it's not that big of an effect because we see Mustangs generically a couple of tenths apart. But this time they're so good, it's effectively bum draft. So we've got gaggles of 4 cars here. And it really can prove quite pinnacle for the Masters, because if they don't get offline correctly, then something like that can occur.
Exactly, and that is the thing to watch. With all this lap traffic that's now starting to come into play, the Mustangs are going to have to start timing their movements perfectly to get around the lap traffic. That way there won't be another big one like what we just had in the International Horseshoe, Liam.
Well, one can only hope. We've still got a long way of this race before we hit that checkered flag, and you can see already just how much of an impact this racing has had on the drivers as well. And as you said, it really is a bit of preparation before the final 2-4 hours of Daytona event. And more importantly though, it gets you used to racing in these sort of scenarios again. Daytona is one of those circuits which really do bring out another side to the driver. It can bring out either a really aggressive side, which you don't normally see, or maybe for an aggressive driver, a more conservative side, because we see what's at stake. So it really is a fantastic circuit to hold such an event on. That definitely living up to the hype right now. Tim Claessens and the Biankowski battle is still raging on, this time for P5 and 6, and Biankowski's been a little bit wide, and I wonder if Tim Claessens will punish him for that. He's looking to the outside, then he's going to have enough momentum. He's going to have to try and get that cutback. Brakes a little bit later, and he's almost such a back end, cuts back very nicely, and he won't pick up too much of a momentum though.
Another car that's lost the position there is Patrick Bieri. He went wide into turn 1, and Anton Higlin, a man who, if you're a regular viewer to GlacierTV, you'll recognise from the latest 79s, has managed to find his way past. So Anton Higlin up to 10th place overall, and now Bieri is under pressure from Maxim Ranstein.
He is indeed, and you can see already how intense his Mustang class is, and it's been like this for quite some time. And look at that, Bieri's gone wide. I believe Ramstein may just punish him for it. He's got the inside line, but of course he will have the outside line for the next corner. Bieri knows this and immediately goes to the defensive, but the damage is done, and Ramstein moves up into P11.
Good move there from Ramstein. Well, I think maybe he'll try and get back on the inside Bieri, but he can't get inside, so he slots in behind, and that battle will be raging on. And behind them, not too far, we've also got Kevin Brown. So Ramstein and Bieri will be fighting hard, but it was a good move there from the two of them. Really, some mistakes made by Bieri, and now Bieri looks down the inside of Ramstein as they go into the bus stop. He's making his intentions very clear that he wants to go past, and as we come into the bus stop, he's going to brake, and I think he's just about to make that move stick. He's got half the car in front of him, but he's going to be pushed out a bit wide, but he's going to have the inside line for the end of the event, and he's making the move stick. And Kevin Brown's going to try and take advantage as well, because the number 23 been pushed out wide, but he puts back in very quickly. But Bieri has taken that position back from Maxim Ranstein.
He has indeed. We've also got in the lead of the Mustang battle. It's currently the battle between Sumnan and the man he's rivaling, of course, Dan Rash at the moment. It's looking very close between these guys. Rash almost went around the outside, but he couldn't quite get the job done. Sumnan knew it was a stake here and managed to hold to that inside line. Jim Shedlick again, P3. You said he was catching these guys, and he's caught up beyond all our expectations. This is now a three-way battle for the lead. But I wonder what they're going to do, because they did try bump drafting, but I think you could see earlier Dan Rash did pull out. Maybe his engine was getting a bit hot, trying to be a bit cautious. But you've got to be careful in this situation now. Do you work together with the race leader to try and pull away, or do you try and take the lead for yourself?
Very, very interesting dilemma. It's just these three for the lead, and they've just done the last lap the Mazda three-way battle with Bachmann, Alatalo and Williamson. So that's all the Mazda MX-5s put a lap down by these three leading Mustangs.
Indeed, those Mazda MX-5 still very close together. That battle has not changed at all, has it? It's really so close at the moment. You've still got those team three leaders. Williamson still trying to trail the back of Alatalo. And the one thing saving Alatalo right now is Jonny Bagman, because he's providing that bit of a draft that allows just a couple of tenths a lap, and Williamson drops back through the ovals. As you said before, Jess, as soon as it hits the corners, Williamson can get straight back up. But if it wasn't for that slipstream that Alatalo is getting on the ovals, then I'm sure this would be a very different story right now.
That certainly would be, because if they were not to have the slipstream, like what Carl Williamson is doing right now as they head straight for the bus stop chicane, Williamson would probably be falling back, as well as Alatalo, to the point of where they just play the conservative role and keep their car nice and clean from any damage. But of course, it's as you said, and as like I said, these guys are starting to 3-car tandem. To the point that they're just pulling away from the rest of the field in the MX-5s.
That's definitely the case, well, isn't it? Because the next car to them will be Nicola Condretti, who's a bit far away down the field as well. You can see a Mustang fly past them there. But nonetheless, you can see Tim Claessens, Jonathan Hall, and Biankowski actually going round the outside of Hall here. I wonder how vital this can be. That side draft could be vital as they're coming towards turn 1. He's going to be stuck on the outside line again. But if it slips you advantage for Hall, Biankowski's going to try around the outside. Oh, he's made that stick beautifully around the outside of turn 1. There was not much right from Jonathan Hall, but that took real guts to put a move around the outside, knowing there's a very high chance of running wide. Great move there by Paweł Biankowski.
What an absolutely fantastic move from Biankowski. But now the interesting thing is these battling Mustangs are coming hot on the heels of our MX-5 leaders. Big side there from Tim Claessens, and I wonder if that could provide another opportunity for Biankowski. Sorry to got the air down. That is the first time I've seen a mistake from Tim Claessens this race. It comes to some matters now in a very tricky part of the circuit. Lucky they may just get some in time, but look how much it has bunched up the Mustang pack. Biankowski is all over the back of Tim Claessens right now. And these are our lead Mustangs, don't forget. That's Shirley Backman, Ricky Alatalo, and the car of Carl Williamson. So it's going to be very crucial to their race what happens here as well. Biankowski's got the inside of Claessens. Claessen's going to be forced wide off the A. It's a big slide from Biankowski. They both managed to save it, and now surely they can navigate their way past the master safely. But more importantly, this has put Paweł Biankowski from P7 to P5 in the space of 1 lap. And look at it, it's so close. Touch there. Oh my goodness me, that could not get any tastier. Claessens is nodding down without a fight. He wants that P5 back from Biankowski, but I think he may have to surrender it for now. But that was some gutsy driving by Biankowski again. He's not leaving any prisoners, is he? Biankowski and Claessens made it 3 wide. They're trying to overtake the Masters, but at the same time continue their battle. That could have ended so nastily. It could have indeed. You can. Oh, sorry, Jay.
I might as well just say this. Biankowski is making moves of the race. So in many different places around here, as we see Tim Claessens starting to basically bump draft Biankowski to let him know, hey, I want that 5th place back, and I'm not going down without a fight.
Oh, and something like this does send chills down a motorsport fan's spine. It's stuff like this which lives on in the Great World Tour events archive. You can see earlier breaking there from Tim Claessens into turn 1. Not really trying to do too much. Big slide there though from Biankowski. He's gone to the A. He's going to sweep it back on, but that could cost him his last 2 positions. He's going to lose 3. No, he doesn't. But all that hard work, that impressive driving we saw, may have actually hurt him in the long run. You can see now is Jonathan Westphal going to try. Jordan Westphal, sorry, trying to go round the outside. Not enough momentum there this time. Oh, this is a hungry pack of cars. It is indeed, and he was not to these places there because after he went off and took the grass. Oh, sorry again. The mistakes are coming thick and fast, it seems now. That was Hegel, and he tried to actually overtake one of the masters of Rico Alatalo, but by doing so, went in too deep into the corner with too much momentum, and it cost big time, but hopefully that is the end of that. But let's take a look at this as well. Yoni Backman and poor Rico Alatalo, his big, giant Mustang trying to lap them at the moment. It's cost them valuable time. Backman's played it very cleverly, trying to get a slipstream off of the back of Hegel right now, and look how much momentum is already good compared to Alatalo. That's already given him at least a couple of seconds. We wanted to see how long he's going to
Williams!
William, Stubbs Master has been collected by the number 14, I believe that was, but Carl Williamson will not be happy about that. It's cost him some time. It was one of the cars, the Mustangs, who's hit him going into the oval section.
Yeah, just a little bit of con can surely affect your race in the MX-5 between either the Jetta or the Mustang. And certainly a little bit of contact with the Mustang has surely affected Carl Williamson's race.
And the Mustang who hit was one of the ones who's been involved in most of the thick of the action. It was Patrick Bieri.
You know, so I'm keeping on in how, you know, this race we've still got loads to go, no so, but now I don't want it to end. Let's have the whole 2.4 hours now, because this is some of the best racing I've ever seen at Daytona. Biankowski hungry to get those positions back, slips into the slipstream with Jonathan Hall. The side-by-side cars behind of Tim Nussel and Jordan Westbrook. This is absolutely incredible. Biankowski favouring the outside line. Swoops there again. Johnson is so close. Can he make it stick though? He maybe hung out to dry. I've done it again almost. He's got caught the apex there. He's sliding. He's just about caught it. He's going to be careful when he rejoins. He's trying to fight for everything he's got right now. And look at them. Oh,
Jordan Westfall's fantastic move as well on Clayton's, and as they go into the corner he's going to make it stick, so fantastic racing here. Jordan Westfall providing another great move as well. These Mustangs are really showing us how to overtake. It's a masterclass of overtaking here.
I thought they were going to go fight into turn 1 there almost, when they were going 2 wide, 2 rows deep into turn 1.
It wouldn't surprise me, and sorry to be there, but Johnny Blackman has just literally taken a little bit too much curve there, a few mistakes.
Jonathan Hall slipped in the Mustangs as well. The two Biankowski and Westfall have come past. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Liam, but Hall, who was leading that gaggle of cars, now finds himself losing 3 positions. He's now nearly at the back of that train.
There's no need to apologise to a big floor there for him indeed, and there's no question about it. As you can see already now, Palacio has got into this battle really nicely indeed. I wonder if he'll be able to maybe put a move on Jonathan Hall. You can see Classon's centrally now in the middle, but you've got to feel sorry for someone like Jordan Westwood. You've already got the most complicated task out of these Mustangs. He's got to focus so hard on trying to catch Biankowski, but then worry about what Tim Classons has got up his sleeve, because he knows that that draft is going to be a feature. Tim almost looks to the inside there, as does Palacio onto the back of Jonathan Hall. He'll be left on the outside. He's met, oh, beautiful textbook stuff there from Eric Palacio, securing PE. But I just got to wonder, for people in the middle of this Mustang pack, they've got to have both textbooks open. You've got to have the offensive and the defensive. While thinking about making a move, you've got to be so careful that if you make that move and a mistake does occur, you could easily lose 3 or 4 positions.
Yeah, indeed, that's what you've got to try and figure out, Liam. But also, the experienced Tim Clayton's number 33 is now pushing Jordan Westfall towards Pavel Biankowski. And Biankowski slowed down on the right-hand side over that. These two have just put a massive amount of speed on, but they seem to be catching Biankowski at quite a rate of speed. And then Westfall got to try and make a move down the inside, but Clayton's also there, and that's put them all right back together again.
Oh, he has indeed, and you couldn't even predict who's going to come.
He's gone wide. Biankowski he's gone across the grass. He's going to leave these 2 positions, and it wouldn't surprise me if he had a slowdown for that.
Yeah, I think he may have done his all. Yeah, you can tell he's backed off considerably as almost at the end there of Jonathan Hall, but Palacio, who said caught the end of that pack in the space of a couple of laps, has already moved himself up a few positions, so it really can pay off it just to be patient. And another fine example of that, you can see at the moment the battle for the lead still rages on, and it's still the same order. We've got Kimo Simonen in that lead at the moment, Dan Rash second, and Jim Shedlick in third. Now this cannot get tasty. These Mustangs really have come alive in the past 10 laps.
They have indeed, and Jordan Westfall is the one who really sticks out for me. He wasn't really up there at the start of the race, but he's comprehensively put himself up into 5th place in class. He's gone through the pack with not relative ease, but he's shown how to do it. He's been very patient, made his move stick, and as a result he's put himself into 5th in class. So Jordan Westfall is the driver who's sticking out for me at the moment in that class.
He's indeed quickly back up on the Jettas. We haven't spoken about the Jettas in quite some time. The lead is changing now. Kevin Parrish has just literally taken the lead back from Seapulse at the moment. Those two still battling so hard. But the thing is with these Jettas is that because there's no real wings or anything, it's so hard to get a draft on them. And you can see there's no sort of tailgates that you'd see on the NASCARs, only a slight small one. But they're so close here, and these guys have been battling for so long. As in the cars behind them, you've got Samuel De La Fuente, Daniel Lopez, Simon Trendle. That 3 have been battling for at least 10 laps now. The 2 Masters have caught them. That's how close they are, because I've been noticing this that Tillman and Dexter Castro have been in each other's stream, providing that 2-car tandem we was mentioning earlier. And it really has worked. Not only have they got past Runner now, but they're managing to actually keep up with Simon Trendle. So these Masters really have taken a note out of the other cars and really starting to put some pace on now, despite the fact they're a little bit too far down the field to have any effect. I believe they're currently 37th and 42nd, but it just shows that if these Masters cooperate, they can get some real pace out there.
Yeah, exactly. The slipstream on these cars, especially when they get behind the. You know, there's a lot of controversy in the qualifying about Mazdas and Jettas getting advantages from the Mustangs, but this really just shows that how to do it. And these the two Mazdas are drafting up, and it's going to make them a lot quicker. They're quite a way behind the rest of them, though, so it'll be interesting to see what impact this has. But yeah, it's good driving by these two.
It is indeed, and I'm sure it's only going to improve. But the thing is, it's getting to that stage in the race now where if you've been racing hard like some of these drivers have, then the mistakes may inevitably come. Sorry to completely cut myself off there. James Stevenson, Daniel Jacobs side by side into turn one. Stevenson's got the position due to Jacobs going wide, and I'm sure he may get the cut back though. He's got to go round the outside. He's not going to have enough momentum. But I was just saying there that these drivers have been battling so hard now for around 40 minutes. And you know, these mistakes surely come. You get mentally tired, your arms start to get a little bit wobbly sometimes, depending on how experienced you are, and it can pay off. It's all about racing mentality here, and if it's not a strong one or you're not used to this kind of pressure, then we may see a couple of big names fall off here.
Exactly, focus is a very, very big word for this race. You've got to try and keep the concentration and the focus going for the whole 60 minutes, especially the slower cars. Not only are they thinking about what's going on with their cars in their class, they've got to think about the faster ones around them as well, what's going on. So really, mental toughness and focus is a big part of this race. And that battle you were talking about before between Stevenson and the car of Conrad Hutton is actually for, is that for 5th in class? Yeah, it's his 5th place in class. So it's quite a substantial battle as far as the Mazda positions are concerned.
It is indeed. You can see already now through that Riku Alatalo battle, and he's still exceptionally Johnny Batman. Now I wonder, these two have been working together for so long. They've lost Carl Williamson due to an incident earlier on, so it's just these two and the tarmac. Now I wonder, is Riku going to leave this to around the 58th, 59th minute, just as almost this race comes to an end and go for a move? Got to gentlemanly let, you know, Yoni take the victory. How is this mentality going to work here? Because, you know, we've all seen Riku in the Drivers' World Championship this year, and it's very much a NASCAR type strategy. I know Jay will be familiar with this, is that you can follow a car for so long, try and work together, but then do you completely betray that and go for the move on the final lap, or do you let them win? What would your be kind of strategy here, let's say?
On the last lap, it's every man, woman, and child for themselves. And when it comes to the last lap, you either make that move, or as the late Jim McKay would say, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. Which one do you choose?
Indeed, and also Riku Alatalo is a driver. He doesn't come to these races to finish second or third. Riku will be coming into this race hotly wanting to win this race. It'll be on his mindset right from the start that he wants to win this. I can't see him, as much as him and Yoni Batman may be friends and club teammates, I can't see Riku Alatalo letting Yoni Batman win this race. I think Riku Alatalo is going to try and take it for himself, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, well, there's only one we find now, and that's to watch the final around 15 minutes of racing that we do have here, of course, because they still have that formation now, which did take some time. I was the slowest that some of these have lapped the Daytona circuit in a long time. And we'll just quickly check up on all three classes of the leaders then. So, leading the Mustang class currently still is Kimo Sumner, and he's driven a fantastic race. Started from second on the grid, has taken the lead and never looked back since. The man leading the Jetta TDI class is back in his spot now after overtaking CPOS is Kevin Parrish. Samuel Delafente in third with Daniel Lopez and Simon Trendle in fourth and fifth. And in the Mazda class, you've got still Yoni Beckman from Riku Alatalo and Carl Williamson, your top three. So
Ricky's gone past. I'm sorry to cut you through, Liam, but Riku Alatalo's taking the lead from Yoni Batman now.
Oh, so he's kind of taken our expectations and fast forwarded around 10 laps, so an incredible move there by Riku. But what would Yoni's reaction be now? Is he going to try and follow him for a bit and maybe get some sweet revenge a bit later on? Will he leave it late for that that so agonising thing? They go into the chicane now. You can see already, surely, I mean, as Batman, what you want to do is leave it to the final minute, then go for the move and snatch it for him in the final moment, or do you want to secure it outright? Because if these guys start battling hard now, then you never know what might happen. We could even see Williamson catch up to these guys.
Oh, without with the worst scenario, they take each other out, then Williamson could inherit the victory. So what happens between Alatalo and Batman really is crucial for that Mazda MX-5 race. I think they'll take it gently. They might want to take each other out. That's the last thing they want to do, I think.
It is indeed, and also still that battle rages on now. Paweł Benkowski, the man, he's made some of the most illustrious moves here at Daytona today. Back down to P9, trying to fight with this Palacio, Jonathan Hall, Jordan Westfield, and Tim Klassen's battle. This has been raging on and very much been in the spotlight for the past 6 laps. So you can see Tim Classen's now still holding that position. Jordan Westphal almost had it. Still with some side-by-side action. All of these 5 cars have performed so well this afternoon. Very rough, very aggressive racing, but still that sense of racing etiquette. A lot of respect out there.
Yeah, it's been a lot of respect out there. I've got to say that it's been a very, very mild-mannered and a very, very clean race by the majority of these cars. I think I've only seen about 2 or 3 incidents in the whole race. There was the one earlier on in the race which took out Jere Yanis, and there was another Tony Rapoussi who was involved in the accident with Jere Yanis, which saw Yanis retire. But back to the Mustangs, we got moved there from the number 40 car there, not number 40, it's Palacio making a move on the car of Jonathan Hall. So Palacio has moved himself a place up at the bus stop.
Yeah, Jankowski also tried to make a move on Jonathan Hall going through the bus stop chicane, but he had to back off at the last second. That way, him and Jonathan Hall did not go around and take themselves out of the race.
Yeah, so already it's about to be a thrilling climax here to the first World Tour event of 2013. And it's only looking to improve, as you can see, Jonathan Hall trying to retake Palacio's position and just in front as well. Jordan West and Tim Klassen still dueling away, so I can't see this battle ending anytime soon. And it just keeps getting more ferocious as we speak.
Yeah, it does indeed. These Mustang pack have caused us some real entertainment over the course of this race so far. As it comes to an end, you got to feel that there might be some rather tasty moves coming towards the end of the race. Give it to the last lap or two, I think we'll really see the blue light torch paper well and truly lit.
I think it's a very big positive, because the thing is as well that you get to the final couple of laps, and after sitting behind someone for around, say, 20 to 30 of those laps, you really just want to get that move done, and it can cause some silly manoeuvres, regrettable manoeuvres, but ultimately it can be ones which can make or break your career. In a race like this, risks have to be taken if you want to be at the top of your game, and I'm sure we're going to see many a risk coming in towards the final couple of laps. And probably one of the underdogs to do those moves, and as we said before, some of the illustrious moves of the day have gone to him, can be Pavel Jankowski. Sits in P9 at the moment on the edge of this battle. He's actually in a sandwich, isn't he? He's got the big battle up in front of him, and just behind him you've got Anthony Higgelen trying to lead that class. You've got Kevin Brown, Ramstein and Bieri still joining away as well, Michael Abrams, and Yamin as well. So he's in the middle essentially between 2 very hungry packs of Mustangs, so he's going to be hoping to try and catch them as opposed to fall into the other clutches. But he's going to be very careful. As you said, if he goes for a move and it doesn't pay off, he could lose up to potentially 4 or 5 chips.
And talking of people trying to make positions, Bieri is hot on the heels of Maxim Ranstein again. Bieri's had quite a bit of action today, and also behind them he's got Michael Abrams trying to make it 3 cars. Abrams has got quite a bit of damage to the front of that car, has dented in, so Abrams has had contact with somebody, but Bieri's going to go up high to try and get past Maxim Ranstein for what will be 3rd place in that little gaggle of cars. We've got 2 in the Mustangs, we've got the 3 leaders, and we got David Brown, who's sort of on his own really. Then we got 2 great gaggles of them, and as they come to the stripe now, it is in fact going to be the number 34 of Bieri on the outside trying to go past Ramstein. Will he be able to make it stick? I don't think he's quite going to be able to make it stick, and in fact Abrams could have a look down the inside, but he's not going to make the move stick, so no change of position there.
Yeah, Bieri had up on the binders there a little bit, saw his car basically wiggle a little bit, getting a little too hot on the brakes, and that's pretty much what gave Ramstein basically the key to open the door and just continue on.
Indeed it did, and in final few moments now, and a lot of the tension is really starting to build. The emotion in these drivers' cockpits must be so boiled right now, especially for some of the leaders, guys like Kevin Parrish, who can still technically lose out on his victory. You've got Sipos, who's been haunting him all afternoon, whether he's been in front or behind. These two have not been able to lose sight of each other.
Riku Alatalu, and that's actually starting to put a gap up to Yoni Batman. Alatalu was behind him for the majority of the race, made his move, and now he's going to try and make the breakaway from his Finnish teammate Yoni Batman. So Riku Alatalu really putting the hammer down now, and hopefully for him he's going to try and pull out the gap, which will see him through to the end of the race. But it's been a great battle between Alatalu and Batman, and also Carl Williamson before he got taken out. In fact, Carl Williamson's dropped back a lot of places, and don't know what's happened to him there, but into 3rd place now comes James Stevenson. Yeah,
so already just to show, Riku is taking no holds barred in terms of taking this victory, wants to secure it outright, and the last thing you want to do, especially as we said before, is a guy leading that pack. We've seen this so many times in oval racing. You can be leading the pack, and as soon as you hit the final lap, as soon as you hit that oval, it can all go wrong, and you can maybe sink down to 3rd or 4th position. So Riku does not want to suffer that fate, and as you can see, that Mustang battle still heating up at the moment throughout the entire field. More importantly though, you still got that Palacio, Jonathan Owen Klassen's battle. You can see at the moment though, Palacio is giving a nice push to Westfall. You can see, whoa! A Hakkinen and Schumacher manoeuvre from Spa there for those Formula 1 fans of you. That was incredible how they managed to all avoid that. Oh my goodness me.
Wow, that was an incredible pass without even just making the slightest of contact, just slip right on by and continue with the battle. As we see, I think that was Biankowski trying to make a move on Jonathan Hall, but with the Mazda on the driver's left of him, he basically had to play it safe there. And we're getting a report that Carl Williamson, who was up there with Riku Alatalo and Joni Backman, is unfortunately out of the race.
And that is Katisk as well. He's been such a gallant driver all afternoon, putting in some great action and really spicing up the Mazdas. It's such a shame that it's just the nature of this circuit. You can claim so many wins, and again, some unsuspected names could drop out, just like we said earlier on. And hopefully we don't see too many more of these, because this Mustang battle, I want to see them all cross the line 4 wide, and the way it's going, I think we're going to see it.
I wonder if on that last banking we might see a big accident like NASCAR style, where people are going balls to the wall for the last bit of the race to get their position. So I can't wait to see how that ends. But Westfall and Tim Kleisen just trying to make a bit of a break though in that Mazda. They're going through some Mazda MX-5 traffic now into the bus stop, and he caught him at just the wrong time. He can't make the move, and as a result, Kleisen is caught right back up, and that is now going to it. And in fact, there's a car going across the grass there as well at the bus stop.
So already you can tell the emotions definitely beginning to run high here at Daytona, and it's been a thrilling race so far into the final few moments. Oh, it's been a contact between the Jettas. Look at this! Where has this sprung from? We've got Simon Trendo and Daniel Lopez, who've been working together pretty much all afternoon. You've got Renner and De La Fente now. 4 cars battling, and we've been waiting for this. It's been so suspended and building up and building up. The final 3 minutes.
Trendle bouncing across the grass there, contact with the car of Alexandra Rayuno, I think it was. It sent Trendle bouncing across the grass. He's back on though.
Comes well. Sorry to interrupt you, just flicked up to see the 2 leaders, and Seapos tried around the outside of turn 5. Parish immediately slammed the door shut, and that was the end of that. But it's got to be said, this Jetta class has been phenomenal all afternoon. The racing's been so clean, very quiet, and now it's about to go absolutely mental, to say the least.
Earlier in the Mustang, they were Biankowski, and it was him who went across the grass at the bus stop, and as a result he's right now with that second pack of Mustangs led by Anton Higelin. So Biankowski's lost a lot of time after being in a battle with one group of Mustangs. He's fallen back to the second group, and they're also battling just as hard.
Indeed they are, and again, oh my god, half of you wants this race to end just to see the climax, and half of it wants to do another hour, because this has been absolutely phenomenal all afternoon. Since the get-go, we've seen some of the cleanest, professional and exciting racing that we've ever seen here on iRacing World Tour event. Yeah,
it's been really great racing. I think these drivers are a real credit to the iRacing service, and most people out there watching who haven't got iRacing, this is just truly fantastic, and this is what iRacing can do. It's a really great racing simulator, and watching this, you've got to feel that you want to be a part of this sort of racing.
Oh, Joni Backman's hot back up to Riku Alatalo. Sorry to interrupt you there, Dan, but Riku Alatalo, he initially had that 1 second lead, but Joni Backman is starting to pull him back in towards right near the end of this race.
And I just quickly got to touch on this as well. The Jettas are being lapped by the lead Mustangs, and this could get very fighty, especially if they were fighting at once. You can see some of them's made his way past, and just in front they're going to come up to the leaders of Jettas. Daniel Lopez in a bit of a tricky scenario right now. He wants to go defensive, but he knows that Mustang's coming. It almost goes up the inside, it does so. Simon Trendo has been able to catch right back up in that lone wide Jetta, you can see. And as they all fly through it all very cleanly and nicely done there by all parties involved. And you can see already Simon Trendle has managed to allow Jim, I beg your pardon, to come through without any sort of hesitation. So luckily for Simon, he won't lose too much time. Back in the front, Seapos still cannot find a way past. So many lead battles. Every class has a lead battle going into the final lap.
Jim Shedlick's lost a lot of time there with these Jetters. He was right, and he's been hit from behind by Trendall. He very slow there was Jim Shedlick, and Trendall went straight into the back of him. But Shedlick's lost a lot of time. He was only a second behind the leaders at the start of the lap, and these Jetters have really put paid to his chances, I think, now.
Yeah, Shedlick tried to make a move to the inside, driver's right of Samuel De La Fuente, but Samuel De La Fuente, I guess, didn't see Jim Shedlick behind him and slowly closed the door to the point that Jim Shedlick had to get on the brakes a little bit and was unfortunately hit from behind by Simon Trendall.
Yeah, and I believe we will have one more lap then as the clock strikes to the 1 hour mark. We're almost at the end here at Daytona, but the question is who's going to be the winner of each individual class, because they're so close right now. Look at this, you can see the two Jetters are side by side. They almost caught James Stevenson there. Caught James Stevenson. I should just about move out of the way. I don't think he was too happy about that. Kevin Parrish on the inside trying to defend it with everything he's got. They've got to be careful because somebody's going to make it 3 wide. He's being pushed by his Mustang counterpart Dan Rash, who's played it very nicely there, looking out for his Mustang counterpart. They safely navigate their way through, and you can see now this guy's looking at tense. How late is the Seaport going to brake going into that chicane? I mean, going into turn 1, I beg your pardon, sorry. So, final lap has begun, and it could not get much tastier than this. How many risks are going to be taken? Seaman leads the final lap, Dan Rash leads the second.
I think they might get another lap out of this, Liam. You say it's a final lap, but I think they might get 2 laps at this. So we think we've still got a bit more action to go. Yeah, and I just can't wait to see how this race finishes.
I think.
Seapost is side by side. Seapost is side by side with Kevin Parrish. He's trying to get. Seapost is trying to get that run on Kevin Parrish, but it's not looking good.
No, he has to tuck back aside, but maybe I'll try and make the move now as I go into the turn 5 section here, but there's a Mazda there as well, so that could maybe influence these a bit depending on where the Mazda plays. But at the moment it looks like Kevin Parrish is going to be able to hold off Seapost, but as we said, we've got about a lap and a half to go, but just behind those two we've got also the Daniel Lopez and Alexander Rianu battle hotting up, but it's the top of the Jetters really, Parrish and Seapost, where I think we're going to see the most action. As Seapost will be trying to go down, they're going down the inside now.
Just as you said that, Tim Gadsden's almost lost his Mustang. Now he should just about keep it on, but he's really gone on the assault against Jonathan Hall. And look at the pack just behind now being headed by Harold Binkowski, and it's just so tasty. There goes there, Kevin Bramstein's there, Nick Fieri and Michael Abrams, all of them joining away as we get ready to come in towards the closing stage. You've got roughly 3 minutes of racing here to go, so probably another lap after this one. And my goodness me, this could not get any more tense because we've still got battles all over the shop at the moment. But Parrish has got a bit of a gap now to Seapost, so the Jetter battle may be put on hold for the remainder of the race unless Parrish makes a mistake.
I think at the end of this race, I'm going to have to sit down with a bottle of water. This has been absolutely fantastic. It's really taken my breath away, just how competitive and how exciting this race is as Kimi Sumner now starts the last lap.
So we've seen an hour of non-stop thrills, spills and everything in between, and I'm sure we're going to get one more lap of it because Kimo Sunderland could lose everything he's fought so hard to achieve in the space of a few corners. Dan Rash will follow him to the line. Will he get the job done though? As you can see, those Jetters are still fighting hard, and I wonder what Quadrati's doing there, trying to get his Mazda through one of the TDIs. Not a wise idea when you realise what's at stake in Nicolo. I'd rather try and just watch them, let them all fizzle out and maybe pick up the pieces if necessary. But right now, we've still got action all over the field. You don't even know where to park a camera. There's so much going on.
Kevin Parrish is starting to fall out though from Martino Seapost. I think the most interesting battle on the track on the last lap is going to be the lead for the Mustangs between Kimo Sumnen and Dan Rash, and also the battle between Ricky Walatalo and Jody Batman. And in fact, the 2 leaders are coming up to our Mazda MX-5 leaders, so this could be the last lap for them as well, in fact, because as soon as the Mustangs overtake Alatalo and Bachmann, that'll put them on their last lap. So this really is crunch time for the MX-5 battle between 2 very fast Finns, Ricky Walatalo and Jody Bachmann.
It is indeed. You can see already just how tense this is. We've got roughly 40 seconds left on the clock, so we may, depending on where the other cars are, you can see the Jetters now going around in towards the chicane, but it has been absolutely incredible. Here comes Jody Batman on the assault then. He's not going to get enough momentum through the chicane. He's going to have to brake considerably later, and he's not going to be able to do it.
But here we
how
go.
long has he got left?
He's not got very long at all because they're at the bus stop now, and this is where Dan Rash is really going to try and make the move here on Kimmo Suominen. Because Suominen's coming around in turn 3 and 4 section now. We've had an hour of racing. It's been intense, it's been fraught, but this is where it matters now as they come for the run to the flag. It's Kimmo Suominen who's got Dan Rash right behind him, and now Dan Rash pulls out to the outside. Will he be able to get a drag on Kimmo Suominen to take the victory? They're side by side. Is it going to be Dan Rash? I think it is. Dan Rash! It's Dan Rash by 4,000s! 4,000s! What's happening in the Masters? It's Alatalo down the bottom, and Ricky Alatalo takes the MX-5 victory. But wow, Dan Rash has just taken it from Kimmo Suominen by 4,000ths of a second. He's absolutely stole it, and Dan Rash, wow. That is just fantastic. And what's happening in the Jettas is a victory for Kevin Parrish with Attila Supos in second and Daniel Lopez third. And that was just a fantastic end to the race, and that really has summed up this race. The Raw before the 2.4, it's been an outstanding success, and the only word to describe that race is absolutely fantastic. Well, that's 2 words, but it deserves those 2 words. That is absolutely thrilling racing.
It's hard to think the guys around 29 laps, only 300 corners, and at the end of the day, all that separated the lead 2 cars were 4,000ths of a second. Absolutely incredible. We said earlier on, Joe, as well, that this is what it could take, a last lap manoeuvre, leveling it right to the pivotal moment, and Dan delivered. What a thrilling end to the race that was.
I'm sorry, David. Wow, that is how you start the 2013 iRacing World Tour event season, with a finish like that in the Mustangs. 4,000ths of a second separated by Kimmo Suominen and Dan Rash. So someone give me a breathing machine. I need some air. Wow.
I think I've just lost my voice. That was so absolutely incredible. So we'll quickly run through the running order then. So if we do a class each and we'll separate out into the 3 of us. So the leader of the Mustangs in the end of the day by 4,000ths of a second was Dan Rash from Kimmo Suominen. Absolutely incredible scenes there. A further 4.8 seconds down the road was Jim Shedlick. David Brown finished in P4. Jordan Westphal rounded out the top 5 in front of Eric Palacio in 6th. Jonathan Hall finished in P7 in front of Tim Classens. Paul Biankowski managed to finish in P9 after that hard-fought battle all afternoon with the likes of Classens and John Hall. Anton Hilgern finished in P10, rounding out the top 10 runners. Kevin Brown rounded out in P11. Ram Stain in P12. Michael Abrams finished P13. Patrick Bieri finished in 14th position in front of Ahmed Yamin. Palumbo finished in 16th in front of Jonathan Fuller in 17th. Jason Fryer finished in P18. Rebelski finished 19th, rounding out your Mustang runners.
And in the VW Jettas, it was victory for Kevin Parrish. Second place in the class, Itela Sipos. Third was Daniel Lopez. Fourth, Alexandru Ianu. Fifth was Samuel De La Fuente. Sixth was Tymon Trendell. And in seventh was Evgeny Donovstov. And in the Mazda MX-5s, it was victory for Ricky Alatalo, very closely fought. Jenny Batman was in second place, Nicolo Sajati in third, Daniela Jacobs fourth, James Stevenson took fifth, Conrad Hudson sixth, Stefan Overgaard in seventh, Sam McAleer eighth, Arthur Chan in ninth, Dexter Castro was in 10th place, Yoni Hagner 11th, Tony Raputsard in 12th, 13th Patrick Lindsay, 14th is Antti Tuominen, and they only had 3 retirements in that whole race. Quite astounding, really. They were all Mazda MX-5s. We lost Carl Williamson, Danny Conlon, and Jere Yanis.
Yeah, I really... Oh, sorry, Liam, go ahead.
I was just going to ask for your thoughts anyway. I mean, after what a race we've seen, I just wanted to get your final thoughts, Jay.
I do have to feel bad for Carl Williamson, who... He had such an incredible race going with him, Rico Alatalo, and Yoni Beckman, and unfortunately Williamson had to get caught up in a couple of incidents, and unfortunately Williamson, what I would say one of the class drivers in the MX-5 field, unfortunately had to retire out of this race. But wow, I'm wondering if that finish in the Mustang is a precursor to what we're going to see in the 2.4 hours of Daytona and the Daytona 500 come mid-February.
Oh, I cannot wait for this. It really is going to be incredible. So, Dan, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, you've just seen an hour or so of the most exciting racing of all time, perhaps.
I think it's got to be one of the best races I've ever seen in iRacing, to be honest. Fierce racing all through the pack. It was very clean. The fact that we only lost 3 drivers from the race in the whole hour out of the 43 that started just shows what respect they had for each other. They knew that it was a top split race. There was a lot of respect for each other, and there was some very, very good racing, very close meets, some great overtaking manoeuvres as well. And I'd like to bring in Mr. Will Vincent, our regular Glacier TV commentator. So, Will, we've had a fantastic race. How did your race go to start with?
Yeah, interesting. I knew I was going to be slightly off pace. I hadn't been able to do as much practice as I would have wanted, but you know, it shows what these World Tour events are. Any single person who's a member of the iRacing service has the chance to race with, you know, people of their own skill level up and down the field. And you guys have had a great race. I've had it on the stream on my right-hand side, but you know, it really does show up how we have some of the best drivers on iRacing doing battle. And you know, yes, there's a little stick at the end of it, but these guys, it's all for fun, really.
Yeah, the battle for the Mustangs, we saw Kimo Soonmili most of the way, but on the very, very last corner, Dan Rush stole it from by 4 thousandths of a second. It was an absolutely fantastic finish to the race. Probably one of the most exciting finishes we've had in World Tour history.
And I have to say, again, the 3 classes have really done it proud. The Ford Mustangs, the VW Jetta, and the Mazda MX-5 as well. And I have to say, guys, you know, in 1 week's time, we're doing it all over again for the 2.4 hours of Daytona.
Oh, I can't wait for this. It's just going to be incredible. I was saying to both Dan and Jet earlier, if this was a sign of what's to come in 2 weeks, then we're going to be in for probably one of the most exciting races in recent World Tour history.
And I'll tell you what, Liam, you can go in 2 weeks' time, but we'll be there in 1 week.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Right, who's going to do interviews? Because I have no idea.
Let Liam do it. Do you want Liam?
Yeah, go on, Liam. Off you.
Yeah, I can take the interviews. Can we bring some drivers in from the...
We'll bring them all then, shall we? We'll have ourselves a little GlacierTV huddle. Lots of people. Who are we going to start with first? Liam, go.
Okay, so let's start with Riku Alatello. So Riku had a hard-fought battle with both Yoni Backman and Williamson all after this. How was that for you today? That seemed incredible.
Well, not much of a battle really. It was the first 55 minutes or so. It's just sorry, I had the stream on. Did that. It was just about staying in the draft of the car in front, in this case Yoni, and just trying to break away from the main pack. Especially after Hager's unfortunate incident, it was just really me and Williamson, and after Williamson's unfortunate issues with the Mustangs, it was just me and Yoni, and we just to each other the whole rest of the race until the final lap, where we was in the lead. I thought I would surely lose, come in second, because that's what happens usually at Daytona. But luckily Yoni didn't get the bus stop correctly, and I was able to get good enough bus stop to actually take it the checkered flag.
Okay, well, thank you for your Riku. We'll quickly head over to the simplest man in the roster in the class, Kimo Summoner. Now, Kimo, you led 27 of 29 laps and lost by 0.004 seconds. Just how was your race overall for you? That seemed incredible.
Yeah, I know. I had such a fun race, and it to end that way, it's never fun, but the race was alright. I think Dan was planning that move from the beginning. It was just bump drafting me, and I think he was. I think he knew what he was doing. So sucks to lose, but hey, it was a fun race.
Yeah, it's nice to see some sporting spirit, but I mean, throughout that entire race, we were anticipating that traffic may be an issue, but you guys seem to navigate it so well, and then now it's that classic coming in towards turn 1 when you navigated your way past some of the Mazdas. And how tense was it actually getting past the Mazdas? Was it as difficult as we anticipated, or was it fairly simple?
I think Mazdas and the Jetta guys did a very good job letting us by, and I had absolutely no problem with them.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. We'll let you go and chill out for a bit now after what must have been an exhilarating race. And we'll bring in Mr. Kevin Parrish. Now, Kevin, you had a very exciting race in the Jettas indeed. You worked your way back up into second place, eventually took the lead of the race and then crossed the line as well. So, how was your race on a whole for you today?
Oh, it was a roller coaster. I got a bad start right when it hit green and fell back, and luckily I was able to just find a gap on the outside in turn 1 and get myself right back up there, and actually worked with the Mustangs a little bit in the first lap to get out there into clean air.
And it is, again, it must be so intense. And those Jetters really seem to struggle in terms of overtaking, actually getting away from your competitors. Used to be always in the action at some point. Did you feel a lot of pressure throughout the race, or was it just regular stuff for you?
Oh no, it was definitely pressure packed from flag to flag. I got lucky there at the end. Got in the bus stop just right when Attia tried to make a pass, and I just was able to break his draft for those last 2 laps.
Yeah, again, well, thank you for hopefully see you in the Daytona 2.4. And we're going to talk to the man who came second in the Masterclass now, Mr. Yoni Beckman. Now, Yoni, how was your race for you today? Obviously, you were at the front almost the entire time there until Ricky decided to pull a move on you. But overall, how was your race for you today?
Much more boring than the first race was actually. Ever since the one of the Italian drivers caused a crash with Hagner in early stage of the race and caused the majority of the pack to fall behind, and after that it was just basically me, Riku and Carl. And after Carl had his incident with while the Mustangs were lapping us, then it was basically just drafting, bump drafting each other, and just like I mean, I knew there was no point in trying to battle. I could have overtaken Riku like 50 times during the race, but what's the point? I mean, we're faster with the draft, so we just tried to as a pack, and I was basically trying to keep myself awake. I'm pretty exhausted right now, to be honest, but I tried to set up a pass coming out of the last bus stop, but I failed it big time in the middle of the corner. Just get the car to rotate, and didn't have time to catch Riku before the start-finish line.
And Yoni, I know that I'm the only person in this last one. I don't know what Liam's doing, but when you have a look at the lap times, I mean, your average lap time 11 1,000ths of a second slower than Ricky. Your fastest lap of the race just 1 1,000th of a lap slower than Ricky. Does that just sum up how close you two were on the track, not only today but pretty much all week at Daytona?
Yeah, pretty much. It's not a one car that defines your speed around here. It's minimum 2. There's no way you can match the speed of 2 cars alone. So, I mean, even if I had won, I wouldn't take any credit for it, because it's just as well Riku's win. Neither one of us could have won without the drafting assistance. So, it's really a team effort on this racetrack.
And Mr. Club Captain for Finland, you have 2 drivers in the top split in the Masters. Is this going to roll over at some point, you know, to the World Cup?
Nah, I don't want to disappoint Marius.
Back to you, Liam.
Okay, so I'm just going to take a look through some of the other drivers that we've got here. We've also got a Yoni hanger, so from one Yoni to another. Now, I believe that you were actually involved in an incident a bit earlier on in the race, so just talk us through that one. I think that was one of the only incidents we saw, and it was quite a big one, to say the least.
Yeah, Harp had a run to Riku, and Riku didn't see me going the same gap, so he pushed me to the grass bit, and I saved it from there. And this corner, that I don't know, Italian guy, I don't know name, but crashed me to this and caused a big pile up, and I rolled a few times, so unfortunate.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. I believe we're currently joined at the moment by Dan Rash. So, Dan, well, firstly off, congratulations on what must seem like one of the most exhilarating victories you've ever received. But just how was your race weekend for you? That seems so tense out there today.
Oh, thanks. The first race was kind of interesting because I didn't have any chance to practice all week. So Friday, as soon as I came from work, I hopped straight into qualifying and practicing. And I didn't realize how many people were going to turn out for this race. So in race 1, I just qualified a couple laps and then went into practice to refine my set. And ended up second split. But this time around, I got into first split, so I was really thankful for that. Had some good racing. At the beginning, started in third. There was the guy in second, qualified ahead of me, but it looked like he didn't have quite the same pace. So I was bump drafting him for a couple laps, but then after that I figured I may as well just go ahead and make my way around because the gap between him and the leader was growing. So I maneuvered around him and then bump drafted with Kimmo for quite a while until there was a decent gap between us and third place. And then I was like, finally, you know, we've broken the draft and we can start racing. And so I started making a couple moves there. You'd see me go too wide into turn one or whatnot. But then before long with the multi-class and whatnot, third place caught back up. So I had to basically just fall in line behind Kimmo and push him for a while to try and distance ourselves from second place. And then we didn't really get back to racing until last lap and a half, I think, once third place got caught up in some multi-class and he dropped back quite a few seconds. And then at the end, that's drafting.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, especially coming across that finish line, not knowing surely the outcome for at least a few seconds, what was your initial reaction? Did you think you made the pass?
Well, originally I was planning on getting a run out of the bus stop because I felt that my car had a little bit more grip coming out of there, but I came in a little bit overzealous, and I don't know if it showed up in the replay as well because sometimes yaw is muted in the replay, but in my screen I was getting pretty sideways coming out of the bus stop, and I was worried that I had just killed all of my steam, and it turns out I only killed about 95% of it, and that last 5% is what took me to the 4,000th win.
Yes, so incredible scenes, and I mean, after this, what's your anticipation going to be now for the Daytona 2.4? Are you going to be looking into that with some confidence, or?
iRacing's 2.4 or the Continental Tire 2.4?
The iRacing one.
Oh, the McLaren's too fast for me. I don't think I'll be doing that.
Okay,
the Mustang's about all I can handle.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and again, congratulations for everyone here in the GlacierTV booth on your victory, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, and thanks for the broadcast.
So, is there anyone else we need to interview? I believe we may have Jordan Westfall up in the interview booth, but...
There he is.
There he is. So, we're currently joined by two more drivers then, so Jordan Westfall, we'll start with you. Jordan, I mean, what a race you had out there today. I mean, you were fighting tooth and nail in that Mustang.
Yeah, everywhere from about 5th to, I'm going to say, 10th to 12th, right from the start of the race was just crazy. I mean, we were beating and banging, hitting each other. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, right until the end, I mean, you've been literally involved in that action all afternoon. Just talk us through some of your key highlights from the afternoon.
I'm going to have to say that the highlights were right at the end there, when there's probably 3, 4, 5 of us really mixing it up, swapping around, back and forth, beating and banging. Unfortunately, I think it was me and the 33 ended up getting together there on the second to third to last lap. But other than that, it was just a blast.
Okay, and it's just great as well just how close and professional that Mustang racing was, and despite the amount of action we saw, it was very clean racing as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, no one was we were being very aggressive, but no one was bumping anyone to the point where we're wrecking. Most of our contacts were just using everything we had off the corners. Everyone was great.
Oh, thank you for your time, Jordan. Quickly cut to James Stevenson now. So, James, I mean, talk us through your race this afternoon. Again, another very action-filled race.
Oh, well, early on there was a big accident running out of the infield, and that pretty much let the top three get away, and I happened to come out in the front of everyone from that incident and worked with Nicolo and Danilo for most of the race. And Danilo didn't seem to want to draft with us, he wanted to pass, which the top three just slipped away from us and we couldn't catch them up, and yeah, it was just hanging on until the end.
Yeah, obviously, especially when you get towards the end and you're in that sort of position, tensions can run high inside the cockpit. What were your emotions going into those final couple of laps? Were you looking to maybe make a pass or just try and bring the car home?
Well, I was hoping just to stay with Nicolo and Danilo and maybe try and pass them on the last lap, but on the second last lap they crashed each other going into the bus stop and blocked the track off, and I almost got cleaned up by some jetters that were catching us, and after that they just sort of got away a little bit and I couldn't get back past them.
Okay, well, thank you for your James. We'll quickly head over to Dexter Castro. Now, Dexter, your race again was a little different for us. Just talk us through some of your key highlights this afternoon.
Well, I was just getting ready to settle into a nice rhythm and just stay in the pack, but then that big wreck on lap 2 happened, and I saw the cars spinning to the inside, and I thought the outside was clear, and I didn't know Yoni was up there. So I ended up hitting him hard, and I think I'm the one who flipped him over on his roof. But then after that, I just came and got repairs and ended up hooking up with my teammate who'd had some connection issues or computer issues earlier, and we tried to run away from Yoni, but he caught us eventually. And then at the end we were catching Arthur, and Yoni was in front of me, and I guess somehow I just got the run right and got past him. I mean, it's not quite as nice as yesterday's, but it's still fun to be in the top split, considering I usually get my butt kicked by the likes of Jan Koemans and Sam McAleer and them on a weekly basis. So it was a fun race.
Okay, and I mean, I think anyone will experience the actual drafting in that car, and just how vital was that? I mean, we were talking in the commentary booth about how when you do it for extended periods of time, that the engine can get a little hot and the performance in the car can dip a little. Did you experience much of that, or was it all okay?
Yeah, it was all over. I was pushing Antti for pretty much most of the race, or he was pushing me, and we didn't have any troubles.
Okay, well, thank you for your event, Dexter. We'll let you go and cool down after that race. I think that may be everyone.
Indeed. Congratulations, Liam. You managed to do that without bursting a lung.
Exactly.
Well done. Of course. And of course, iRacing Super Saturday on Glacier TV continues in just 30 minutes' time. We'll be heading back over to Channel 2 for the first of the World Cup Finals for 2012. 4 clubs made it in. 2 races will separate drivers from 1 club winner. Diat, Finland, Brazil and UK&I made it to the final. And as far as Diat are concerned, it's all about remaining undefeated. They are a 3-time World Cup winning powerhouse, and once again they've pulled out all the stops, getting to the final in grand fashion. However, Club Finland scoring the most points on the road side in the qualifiers and are bringing out all of the big guns to support their clubs. And although they might need a little bit of a better luck on the oval side, they are really a strong contender. You've got Club Brazil. Some call it a surprise, others say they're a destiny. They were there from the start. No one can deny, however, that they are looking to make a huge impression on the World Cup Finals. And who can forget poor little club UK&I. The strong showing early on meant that they could resist a late charge to stay in the top 4 and qualify for the World Cup Final. However, expect one of the biggest clubs on iRacing to put up a strong and huge fight, and I know that all of you guys are going to be looking to it. Fortunately, we've got so many English people in here that we're going to say that if I was to ask people, they'd all be biased, but don't forget, Yoni will be racing and representing Club Finland. We've got Marius from GlacierTV, he'll be representing Club Diat. We'll have us from Club UK&I, and we'll have a special guest from Club Brazil as well, to bring a real theme to it. And Liam, it's going to be truly fun to watch.
Oh, it will indeed. I mean, personally, I'm awful when it comes to racing, so I wouldn't want to have the pressure of representing your club. I mean, this is such a monumental event every year, as you said, that there's so much at stake here. It's not just bragging rights, but it's coming together as a team, as a unit, and really trying to get the most out of your car and really push to try and always be the best in your country and prove that you can take your country to the top. So, really can't wait for this one.
And don't forget, coverage will kick off at about 8:15 PM on Channel 2. On Glacier TV with the road finals. Hey, Road America will be the venue. The HPD ARX 01C NMP2 car will be the car of choice. Drivers having to work around one of the most demanding road courses in the US. So join myself, Marius Goddenbeck, Yoni Backman and Marco Palermo for that at 8:15 PM GMT live on Glacier TV, and then on Channel 1 at about past 10 PM GMT. We'll head over to the high banks of Texas Motor Speedway, the track that measures just about 1.5 miles in length, with the nationwide Impala, and we'll be on there, as I say, 10 past 10 PM GMT. So join us for that. In the meanwhile, unfortunately, it is time to say goodbye to the first World Tour event of the year. We'll be back next Saturday, same time, same place. Actually, I lie, it'll be an hour later, 7 PM GMT, for the 2.4 hours of Daytona here live on Glacier TV, bringing you 6 of the 7 World Tour events of 2013. And of course, on Monday night, Glacier TV's first anniversary extravaganza with the McLaren MP4 GT3 car, and that will be taking place at Sebring International Raceway. We've got a big announcement to make on that night as well, so make sure you keep it with us with Glacier TV as we continue another intensive week of broadcasting. In the meanwhile, from myself, I'm Will Vincent. I did the pre and post-race show. From Dan Blake, from Justin Perchire, from Liam Jenkins, from Yana Matakayan, and everyone here at Glacier TV. It is time to say, see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 in the checkered flag. He wins his first NASCAR iRacing.